So many buttons.
I know, right? All right, I think that we're live.
Awesome sauce.
Let's see. We are live.
We are.
Turn
It just
that
popped up
down.
on my phone.
Yeah. All right, so I can watch the chat from there. That out of there. All right, so how's everybody doing tonight? We watched a live from Steve today from my. God, why can't I remember that? My Honey's Handmade. I wanted to say my Honey's to-do list, but I don't know why I wanted to say that.
Because you have a long honey-do list.
Hey, and he's the first high in there. Right? Elegant Woodcraft in here. How's everybody doing? Double talking. Okay. Don't know why that is. Is that any better?
Is it our mics and the computer?
I don't know. Let me. No. All right. Is that any better right there? Is the echo gone? Please, God, be gone. Yep. Okay. So you're on the wireless because you're going to be going to the laser.
Okay.
So, all right. So we're going to give a few minutes for people to jump in here. And Paul, how we doing? All right, much better. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to use both of the, wireless things here, but it's all right. We have a couple of redundancies, so no big issue there. So we were on My Honey's Handmade. We were on his live earlier today, and I've noticed this from a couple of other lives that I've been on. People want to hear about lasers. So whether that's let's see, Bearded Viking, I've heard some people ask, are you going to do some X-Tool stuff? People were talking today and on a couple of other lives. So and we figured let's do a kind of a laser project. She has one that you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so I have a commission for a sign. It's a present for her husband. His grandmother used to say this saying all the time, so she wanted to put it in sign form and put it up in their laundry room. Right off the top of my head, I can't word for word say it, but it's hilarious and it has a few off-color words in it, but it's fine.
Not quite G-rated, but it is what it is. So we've got a few people in here. We got 7 people. Everybody said hi to each other. Everybody's got the high fives going on. So what we're going to do is jump right into this. I'm going to give you the keyboard. We are going to try seeing if I get this software figured out. And so what you should be seeing is picture-in-picture and light burn. Kissy, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's her mic. So that's picking up both of us.
Well, God is a woman, so.
Yeah, Kizzy, this is your conscience speaking. Get off YouTube. All right, so there's the mouse. You got all of that.
Yeah. So,
You talk to the camera. I'm going to go let the dogs out.
can you start up the laser so it gets warmed
So it gets
up?
warmed up. Yeah, our laser has some issues when it's cold, so I will get that running for you.
It's fancy. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here and pull up. Well, maybe. Let me find it. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna pull up our design. So for this sign, all we're gonna be doing is cutting out the letters for it. So So it says time to do the fucking laundry, and I know it's fucking because there's always more of it. So basically, this is the font she wanted, and I did do a little bit of 3D printing of these little washer and dryers, so we can add those to the sign too. I thought they would come out better 3D printed. So we'll let the laser warm up. So I have it set up so there we have the square, and I'm going to use it as the template. So when I go to glue everything on the sign, the spacing and everything will be right. This is just where we tried it out, but we wanted to make this a little thicker. We just added a little bit of an offset and then deleted out the original, just because this font is very delicate. I wanted a little more oomph to it. See. So he took off on me, and I don't know how to switch the camera to the laser. So, well, wait a minute. Is there any questions about the laser? So we're going to be using our CO2 laser. I believe it's an 80 watt. It's just a Chinese knockoff. For this one where it's cutting, I think I have, so I pre-painted the piece of wood. I think it's 1/8 inch Baltic plywood. For colored letters, I usually pre-paint it and then I put masking tape down. On this where it's black, I'm not going to. I will clean up the letters with a little bit of alcohol or LA Awesome if there's any kind of residue. But I think we should be good where it's black.
All right, we had a couple of comments. All right, Paul, you said camera control.
Oh, I probably was trying to flick around and get it right.
Oh, okay.
I think I got it all sorted now.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know how to switch to the other camera because I was about to go to the laser.
Okay, but you know you still have to save that and do it off your laptop. The
Yeah,
laser.
I haven't changed anything, so it should be fine.
Yeah, we changed the thickness of the,
But we already saved it, right?
in my computer on the desktop, so put it in the projects folder.
Oh. Yeah, I have no idea what we're doing here. Okay.
So, Honey's Handmade, it's Steve, right?
All right.
All right, hold on just a second. All right, Kizzy, what do we need for sound adjustments? And Steve, so I'm using, right now I'm using OBS Studio for our live, so you can share multiple cameras, you can do, share your desktop, share just a window. So if you only have one computer and you don't want to share your whole. It sounds like I'm over an intercom. Okay.
Is that any better?
Sorry about that.
I definitely want to make sure that this is the highest quality live we can get. So Honey's Handmade, no, OBS is it's free software. You look up OBS, and it gives you all sorts of different things. For instance, right now we have one camera that's pointing at us. We have this one that is sharing our desktop, and it's our camera that's in the computer. Whatever I did, do the opposite. I don't know.
Maybe that'll be better. Worse. Yep, chiller alarm, absolutely, because it's actually too cold in here, and but I do run RV antifreeze in our laser, so. So anyway, yeah. So this one is from. It's the camera that's in our desktop, and then we also have. I run an A10 Mini, which is a video splitter, and this is the laser. She is going to go over the laser right now, and you're not going to really be able to. Okay, top notch now. Awesome. It was just too loud, I think. Normally, I try to set it up with my speakers or with my headset and all that, but it didn't work. And she already. Nope. So, Paul, with OBS, you can have multiple inputs, not outputs. So I have, well, I don't know, maybe I could have multiple outputs, go into different YouTube, Facebook, and different streaming platforms. I'm not 100% sure. And what she's doing here, you should probably explain to her.
Okay, I'm just trying to pull it up on my laptop that took to the laser. Oh, I got the wrong one. Okay. That isn't the right one. Alright. So, I'm going to focus the laser now. Should have it all set.
All right, hold on.
Alright.
Here.
Okay. Here we go.
All right, so our laser, because it's probably 42 degrees in here, maybe something like that.
If we're lucky.
It's a little finicky, and I'll show you why.
Our diode laser won't even work at this temperature out here.
Really?
Yeah, it'll work, but it won't work to its ability.
So this is the reason why. This is what we lubricate the rails with on our CO2 and our diode. But this gets a little bit thick when it's cold, so things kind of move around a little bit slower. Usually when I fire it up, I move it forward, backward, side to side a few times. All right, let's catch up on some of the comments. So you can have multiple outputs, Paul says. So who decided on the wording of the design? That was the customer, right?
Yeah, it was her husband's grandmother sang, and she has now passed away. So they wanted it for their laundry room.
Right, Dan's gone. Bye, Dan, for now. Say hi to your mom. Don't tell her I swore. That's funny, Paul. What do you use your diode for versus the CO2 laser? Great question. You talk about it for a second. I'm gonna go get some stuff.
Okay, so the diode I find is better for engraving on our leather patches. It's more delicate for that stuff. I use it for engraving mostly. I use the CO2 for engraving the harder woods, the walnut and other stuff.
Hey.
But I find the diode does better with engraving versus the cutting. And when it comes to acrylic, the CO2 will cut through colored acrylic, clear acrylic, glittery acrylic. It'll do all of them, where the diode will only do certain colors.
Yeah, so the diode is literally a blue beam. So if there's nothing for that beam to hit it and concentrate its focus right there, it won't do it. So clear acrylic, I like making these router templates and stuff out of 1/4 inch acrylic plexiglass. If I try to do this on a diode, it won't even scratch it. The light will just blow right through it.
There are tricks to get it to work with clear, like paint the black paint on it, or use cardboard, tape it to the bottom. I just find the CO2 does a way better job.
Well, and I think that trick is only to engrave it. I don't think you can cut it.
Oh, it might be. I never tried.
However, we get these at Michael's.
Yeah.
They're actually for Glowforge, because Michael sells Glowforges, but nobody has enough money for one of those. It's thinner, it's 1/8 inch acrylic. It has a paper, that one's got plastic too. So it has a paper masking on it, and you pretty much have to leave the masking on there. Our diode will cut this, I think,
Yeah.
and engrave it, but
Certain colors, it's finicky, so we just go to the CO2. It makes it easier.
yeah, and our diode being a 20 watt won't cut, even, we make a lot of things out of MDF. This is 1/4 inch MDF. Make a lot of stuff on the CO2 laser that it just cuts the wood a lot better. So,
Yeah, I was doing these night lady things where it was a puck and you put acrylic in and you engraved on the acrylic and then it shined through. I found that I tried the black paint. It was super messy. But then I discovered using just like multiple sheets of cardboard, black cardboard, and taping it to the acrylic. It did work with my X-Tool D1, but once we got the CO2, I just stopped doing it.
Yeah, the CO2, once we knew we were going to get into lasers, we started off with a Cricut doing vinyl stuff or whatever, switched over to, she wanted the X-Tool laser, so we got that. Really saw how versatile it was, and I found the CO2, this Chinese one, came with the chiller. It's a pretty good size laser. Came with everything. Came with the air assist and all of that. So we picked that up on Marketplace for like $1,500, and 80 watt,
Yeah.
and it's worked perfect for us. To the point where we see the validity in what we can do with it. So we want to get 130 watt Thunder.
We haven't done a lot of craft shows. I do right now. We've done one, and we did really good. But I do a lot of Facebook Live vendor events with a couple of my friends. And then this year, I'm hoping to fill up the summer with craft fairs.
Yeah, we did. We have a river down here in the city, and they did a night market down by the river. Hundreds of vendors, tens of thousands of people showed up, and we laid out everything. We had cutting boards, we had coasters, we had signs, T-shirts that were done with the X-Tool screen printer, and we had a bunch of stuff. And I had hats down there that we were doing hat patches. It's called a hat bar. People pick out a patch, they pick out a hat, I press it on there for them, and they pay me extra money. So, and it did exceptionally well. But
Get the Thunder I want.
I know. That's why when I was watching your live, I was like, oh shit, there it is.
Oh, so that's who I was shit talking while you were watching.
And then I had to ask, I was like, okay, did Thunder send you that? Because we have about the same amount of subscribers, and I need the Thunder laser for her, so.
I need it.
Yeah, the really good, Steve, the Facebook Lives are great for selling. If you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks about online selling events it's the way of the future. And unless you're doing custom stuff, so, if you hold up, I've got 2 of these trays, right? People are like, oh shit, they're gonna go fast, I better get one now. That's the mentality of the people that shop the online shopping events. And she has a friend that put one together that has like 20 different vendors. Maybe not 20.
No, this time it was 20, which I think was too much for one day because we each had a half an hour to sell.
Yeah.
So the morning people, those vendors got a lot more action, interaction. I was later in the afternoon, so I didn't. But
And-
I did get a couple orders for custom stuff. None of the stuff I had pre-made actually went to anybody.
Yeah.
But this one, I think there was too many vendors, and it was right after Christmas.
Yeah.
No one wanted to buy anything.
But the good thing about the way that she does that, the coordinator, everybody that joins it as a seller, they have to, a week beforehand, they have to start promoting it, inviting new friends and whatever to come join be part of the audience, I guess. And really start doing the advertising. So it's a co-op. It's a big group of people that are, all advertising this one online market.
Most of my stuff lately has been custom because we got into, so that's another thing we use the X tool for is engraving pens for businesses. We're doing the hats with that.
3D printing. I mean,
Yeah, the 3D. Printing out some keychains that are QR codes with the 3D printer. The one she ordered was to go to her husband's new business, but I'm also going to 3D print her keychains that when it's scanned, it comes up, fuck off.
yeah.
Just because that's funny.
So we kind of have multiple businesses all kind of rolled up under one umbrella. I do promotional products for businesses, whether that's 3D printed, whether it's hats that are laser engraved, maybe it's a candy dish for a realtor's office, business card holders. A lot of times people will take those things. Let me see if I have one available. And I don't. Oh, nobody can hear me. You took the microphone.
Sorry. I was looking for my painter's tape.
So, I know she ran off with the microphone, so we do promotional products. I did a batch of 100 smaller versions of these roll-off dumpsters for a dumpster company that likes to do home shows. So they wanted to hand these out. They're business card sized.
Nope.
Let me back up here. Okay, so Paul, no, they're not all from the same area. It's nationwide. She met a friend when we were in the Army that's doing it. She actually lives in El Paso, but it's the vendors that are part of that live market are from all around the country.
We're almost all of us. I think there's only a few that aren't our Army wives in some way. We're ex-Army wives or they're still in.
Go, Bill. So, which 3D printer? We have Bamboo printers, one P1P with an AMS, two P1Ss, both of those with AMSs. So we can rip out quite a bit of product in a short amount of time. Like I said, we did 100 of these dumpsters. At $6 a piece, $600 worth of dumpsters, costs us like $12 worth of filament. So, but you have to charge for your printer time, right? So, see what she's doing over there. Get it cut. What she's doing right here is taping in some of the letters so we don't lose the dots to I's and stuff like that. Hopefully it cut all the way through. It's a little cold, so yeah, it's a great profit margin. We do hats and not cheap hats. We don't do big bulk orders. We want to focus on quality, smaller orders. Our average hat sale is $25. It's we have an account through S&S Activewear, I think it is, where we get our hats from. So we get Richardson hats, which are the most popular hats in the world. We get those for like $5 a piece. We put a 50-cent leather engraved patch on them. So we don't have much. We charge $25 a piece. So whenever you're doing small runs like that, your profit has to be, I mean, it has to be high. You know, we started to get into doing pens and stuff. I know you probably can't read that. And the margin is, I can get these pens for 42 cents. We sell them for $1.50 to $2 a piece, depending on, you know, who it is. So it's a good margin. It's not a ton of money. I don't know what she's doing over there. I know she's gonna bring that over and flop it right down here, so let me move this stuff. So, Paul, I didn't actually have an overscanning issue. I was talking with somebody else in one of the chat things on somebody's live. They were saying they couldn't get a good engrave. I said, you know, throw it in a crosshatch or a 45-degree angle to get a darker engrave. I find that if you go with the grain, sometimes, especially in bamboo, it won't engrave good. So if you go at an angle, it usually engraves a lot darker. So.
Okay. Oh, my trick didn't work, and I lost the stupid tops to the eyes.
Well, let me go find it.
So normally before I take it off, I try to put down painter's tape.
Oh, they're sitting right here.
The apostrophe 2.
Maybe.
So that it stays all together, and then I get it out of the laser. But for some reason, every time I miss the little dots to the eyes, and they always fall through the honeycomb, and then I have to sort through pieces to try to find them. Oh no, those is just the middles of the letters. I was talking about these little things.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
How am I
but
going to see that thing?
you can't. They fall through the... That's why I was bitching. You have to open the door and try to find them.
And this is a problem because we don't ever clean our laser.
If we don't, it's no big deal. I'll do it without the eyes. Dots. But normally it works out, and it worked for most of the... So I run tape over it, but I think the tape is too cold.
Yeah, I'm never going to find those.
Yeah. And then once I get over here, I pull the tape off and let them fall. Ooh, except I let that one drop on the floor. Oh no.
Right there. And my job in this whole thing, when she loses something, is to take this board back over and I'll cut out the dots to the eyes.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
But I like to leave it. I like to cut around whatever I'm doing so that I have a template, so when I go to glue it, everything is proportionate.
Oh, that's smart right there. Paul says put a wet paper towel under the small parts. That's what he does. And then you just, so you put that down and then cut it out.
That's smart.
Yeah. I was going to take the big sheet pans that you can get from Sam's Club, and I was going to put a couple of those under the honeycomb and actually try to remember to empty them every job, but damn paper towel.
Do we still have that two-sided tape? The
I have the carpet tape.
Is that what I think
Wicked
it is?
strong though.
I just want something to hold it up a little bit so I don't end up gluing it down.
Yeah.
What do we still got in there?
Yeah, using the using the cutout. I don't know why it's like. Once you figure it out, you're like, holy shit, are you serious? Like, why didn't I think about this? And you really have to plan out your whole project to make sure that you can do it that way. Sometimes, you know, you pile everything together to save room, and you're not able to use it as a template. Wow, this is a lot of stuff, huh?
Yeah. I didn't really think about that beforehand.
Yeah, I don't know that we're gonna get to doing all of this on a live, but that's on her. I'm just gonna sit here and drink a drink.
Awesome.
And what really sucks about this is that sometimes you'll find like an N, or not an N. What are some of the ones?
Some of the
The
O's.
S's. If you don't put it in there right, if you try to put it in like the other way, it won't fit.
Even the O's, even if they're the same font or whatever, you have to put it in exactly how it was cut. So sometimes this gets shady.
Yeah.
I need something to lift it up a little bit.
I mean,
I don't know. I'll try it like this. I'll get the big ones in there first.
yeah. Just don't put so much glue that you end up gluing that thing down. I don't know.
Okay. So I'm a mess. I don't know how to use a little bit of glue. But I will say, I've started using this Gorilla super glue, but the gel, I love this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to get consistent sales. If you watch, what's her channel name? Sally?
Simply Sally.
Simply Sally. She has a really good niche. She does, you know, big signs. It's just the letters, you know, she sends it to people. She actually puts it back into the wood that she cut it out of to ship it.
Yeah.
She has a really good online Etsy, you know, that's her niche. Other than that, it's hard to really nail down something that's consistent. What happens to us is we'll make something, and I was doing the layered seating charts from different stadiums and whatever. Somebody sees one that we did for somebody else, and they're like, "Oh man, I gotta have one of those." So you end up selling like 2 or 3 at a time. Same thing with 3D printing. We printed some name signs to put on doors, you know, that for like kids types of fonts and colors and whatever. And we got 2 or 3 orders right out of that, you know, back to back to back, and then
Nothing.
nothing, you know. So
Yeah, it was like when I went to go drop off an order, someone just in the store was like, "Oh, I want some for my grandkids," so I sold 2 more.
yeah, and we're in Maine, so yeah, she has our laser too, and we've done a ton of research. The Nova 51 is really gonna fit the bill good.
I love
For
that
the
one.
sizes we want to do and the things that we want to do. So if you think about the size of router templates I could do, or signs that she could make, you know, the Nova 51 is the perfect size. You want to go ahead? Wait.
To be fair, I also want an F1 by X-Tool, the Ultra with the conveyor.
I'm not sold on the F1 Ultra. I want the F1 to take to craft fairs and be able to do, you know, customized things right there at a craft fair. But
But it doesn't have the conveyor.
yeah, true. So, Steve, what we did, we've made the most money with the laser other than hats. But basically strictly from the laser in making signs, whether that's you know, people get married and it's the Thibodeaux, John and Jessica established whatever year. Those sell really well. People just love that stuff. So signs have made it have been good to us, as well as kids' door signs. Whether it's intricately cut out circle with a kid's name in the middle and, you know, some characters with no backer, those seem to do pretty well.
Yeah.
Almost like a door hanger without the backer part.
And my layered name signs, and they all seem to do pretty good.
Yeah.
The night lights did good too.
Yeah. Yeah, doing the little puck night lights with the acrylic piece in it. Those do pretty well. Is that stuff frozen?
No, I brought it down from upstairs. It's just, I think it's running out.
You're frozen. Look at you shaking.
I know.
It's cold in here.
I don't do well in the cold.
Yeah, does your buddy make, Steve, does your buddy make any, does he make good money using the F1 at shows? Doing custom engraving? And so the door signs, I'm actually trying to get into, there's a GE plant that's local. I met a guy on the Clack Shack chat group that is also local. He works at the GE factory. They won't allow him to do cutout ADA signs, laser cut, but he can tell them to, you know, refer them to me. So I think we may start getting into ADA compliant signs for businesses, whether it's manufacturing businesses. It could be restaurants and you know, whatever, just to do their signage. A lot of people like, especially like brew pubs and bars and shit like that, they like the QR codes. They like the you know, little wooden things that are engraved where you can hit the QR code that shows the drink menu, whatever that is. And of course we can all do QR codes, so. I would love to do maps. I looked into it briefly. I think Kim and Garrett, I think, did the maps, right?
No.
Yeah, I think it was Kim and Garrett, and Garrett showed how to do all the maps and stuff.
I think it was a different YouTube.
Okay. Anyway, I watched a YouTube video on people that were doing the like cityscape with the river and all of that. It's intricate. It's very, very intricate. So we haven't done that yet. Well, Paul, the thing with the thing with YouTube that I find, like you can sell on YouTube and you can have the little cards down at the bottom for the stuff that you're selling. You can push people to your website, you can push people to your Etsy. Typically, unless you're Sandcraft and you're 3D printing something for your audience to buy and to use, you're not going to be very successful, I don't think. Woodworkers watch woodworkers. Let's say makers watch makers. So if I'm watching somebody and they're like, hey, I 3D printed this thing, I'm gonna be like, cool. I want to know how to 3D print it. I don't want to know where to buy it. Sandcraft does a really good business in, or even, why can't I think of his name right off the top of my head? The guy that makes adapters for Shop Nation. So he does adapters for dust collection on all these different tools. He's not showing you how to do it. He explains a little bit about his print farm and so on and so forth. But if you want one, you're going to buy one from him. It's very hard to get into that situation where your viewers want to buy what you're selling. Most of your viewers want to make what you're making. So if that makes any sense to you. But the Facebook Lives, if you do, we have Rustic Timber Design is our business name. That's our Facebook name. We have a Rustic Timber Design VIP that people that are really interested are going to join into that VIP group. We're going to invite people into that VIP group, and we're going to start doing lives on there where they can, we make a few hats, we make a few trays, we make some signs, whatever, and this is the stuff we're selling. Now, we're going to do it that, hey, this is what we have. You can buy this one. First person in the comments to say, oh, I want that, put me down for that. Okay. Kim, you're down for that. If you want something custom, you're going to have to go to our main normal Facebook page, send us a message. We'll start that whole ordeal of what colors do you want, what fonts do you want, how big do you want it. Most people don't know. They want a sign says something funny about laundry. It's taken her 20 emails or text messages or whatever to figure out what this woman wanted.
And what size, what fonts, different fonts. I think I sent her like 10 different fonts just for 2 words of the sign. So custom stuff does take a lot of work other than actually making it.
And I think the next thing we're going to sell, I did a concealment coat rack. Somebody told me on one of my lives that that thing is probably worth, and they supposedly make these and sell them. It's worth $350.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw that up on Marketplace, see what kind of interest I get, and maybe do a couple of different variations. Start kind of pushing that stuff local before we get into looking into shipping charges.
Oh, you're fine.
Your laser is amazing for rust removal. Amazing for rust removal. I've never done it. However, that's one of the first things that they used lasers for was treating rust. So, Steve, we did. I wonder if I ought to just go grab it off the wall.
What?
The coat rack.
Oh, yeah.
We
showed it a couple weeks ago.
It's one like, so Matthew Peach just did it about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. 4 coat hooks, it's flat, the front pops open, it's got 2 pistols in there and some magazines. One of my video ideas that I like to do is I'll buy plans from somebody, like for instance, Matthew Peach. I watched that video and I was like, well, I could use a coat rack. I need some content. Let's give him some kudos. So I buy his plans. I give him, all the credit, and I see if I can build it. Let's see if the average person can build this. I wanted to build it out of rough cut cherry, kiln dried rough cut cherry. So that's what I did. I milled it all down and did all of that. And of course, any hardware that the original person, so Matthew Peach in this case, he recommended certain hardware, struts to keep the door open, RFID locks, and hinges. I also buy those products from his links, and I share his links in my description. So if anybody sees my video and they're like, hey, I really want to make this, let me get this hardware, he should get the credit for that. And I 100% believe that. So that's kind of what I did. I built this bench off of a John Builds It, that YouTube channel. I built this off of his plans because I needed an assembly table. And I said, you know what, let me find somebody on YouTube that has the one that I want. I watched a ton of videos, and this is the simplest, but met the bill on what I wanted. So I bought the plans, I bought exactly the hardware that he suggested. I no longer suggest the casters that he suggested, but I bought all those and gave him the credit. So not only did it give me a video idea, it gave him a little bit of cash in his pocket. So, and it allows me to kind of use their face in my thumbnail, I think. So. So the 3M sheets, when we get into a big sign making frenzy where all of a sudden we're starting to make a ton of them, we're like, why don't we buy the sheets of 3M sub-adhesive shit that you put on the back? Instead, we do it this way.
Because we always forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, we think of it when we're making the sign and then forget about it. And I wish I had it right now because there's too many letters.
I don't find it that hard. Oops. There's an off-brand too that is so much cheaper. A local shop recommends. I'm already waiting on some pins to come in so I can make the drawers that pull out and down, thanks to Matthew Peach. Yeah, I love watching Matthew Peach.
Oh, no.
Sort of. What?
I think I glued it all. Ugh.
It's a disaster. Also waiting on some pins to come in so I can make the drawers that pull out and down, thanks to Matthew Peach. Yeah, he makes some really good stuff, and then he also makes some stuff. I feel it's a little bit clickbaity when people are like, here's five things you could whittle out of a toothpick. I don't know. I'm not bashing anybody that makes smalls or like the box that Steve made today out of a picket. That's awesome. Like, that came out really good. Some of the stuff you see, it's like, okay. But I don't ever want to knock anybody that is at least in the hobby trying to do something. So some of Matthew Peach's videos, I do skip over. Some of the fence picket ones, he makes some good stuff out of the fence pickets. I'll give him that. But I'm more looking at, the coat rack that he made. He's done quite a few concealment pieces in the past, so that's kind of the stuff I'm into right now.
But I found, so when I made planners last year, I made the first one out of cedar pickets, or a cedar picket. I can't remember. I think it took 2 or 3. I found that just going to the lumber side and buying a cedar board worked so much better than the picket.
And it was cheaper.
Yeah, it was like $1 more, but it was a longer board. So
Yeah.
it worked good.
And it was 4S, so it was not rough. Yeah, Paul, that's a good point. A diode is going to be slow. Um, oh, the clack shack's on. A Galvo, of course, is going to be a lot faster. And then, Steve, I don't get a lot of good views from my lives. I'll get 100 views or whatever, but I'll get thousands of views on my videos. Depending on what I'm doing. My 3D printing videos did really, really well. Our laser engraving videos, they do okay. They're not necessarily, going viral by any means. And it's hard, you try to niche down. I'm going to be a woodworking channel. I want to be the next Mark Spagnolia or Matthew Peach or whatever. But the problem is that lumber's expensive. You want to bust out some videos and you want to make some nice quality stuff. However, if you don't have a market to sell what you're building it all for yourself. You're paying for it all, hoping to get some subscribers and the view counts. So if you're not getting the hours of watch time, if you're not getting the subscribers, you could build a $300 coffee table out of frickin' walnut and you're going to eat the whole thing. It's not going to do you any good and you don't need a coffee table. So I don't know. If you look at, and speaking of laser videos, I just saw you don't do a lot with laser videos. Brent's Laser Garage, he's one of my subscribers. Samcraft, so I've gotten a lot of, I get more back and forth subscriptions and views from people in the laser community than I do the 3D printing community and really kind of the woodworking community also. And Old Pat, how we doing? Yeah, I build these things just out of scrap. So I had some scrap cherry left over. Looked like this. This is the only piece that I had out of a 10-foot 6/4 cherry board when I built that coat rack. But I took another little off piece and just made a little router tray. Throw it up on our Shopify website. Take it to craft fairs or whatever. I mean, it's a piece of scrap. So I would rather do that. And then I made another version that it's got a little opening in the front, kind of. So I did that out of I had a piece of walnut that was about this long, a couple inches wide, off of a cutting board maybe, and turn it into something. It's not going to cost me anything, so I'd rather do that, build boxes, and whatever I can to try and save me from making a huge project. I'm not going to make any profit. This way, I already own the wood, so. I think it's Brent's Laser Garage. Check it out. He does a ton of laser videos. And then of course you have the Clack Shack. The Clack Shack, he does a ton of videos on lasers. He's not big into the CO2 lasers as much as he is diodes. He doesn't have a lot of room supposedly. So he's always not talking down on the CO2 lasers, but kind of. And they're getting into 3D printing and stuff too, so. No, I like doing the the router trays. Kind of therapeutic. I use my laser and cut out a huge acrylic base plate for my router. It's got a big bowl bit in there. I love it. So, and at $30 a piece for this, because of the grain that's in it, you really can't see that in the camera, but because of the grain that's in that and the finish that it has on it, you know, at $30, and that was 0.3. This was 0.3 board feet at $6 a board foot for rough cut kiln dried cherry. That's pretty good margin right there. Craft community is being watered down by the same stuff.
Yes.
Well, and I 100% agree with that. And some of it is not good stuff. I won't name any names whatsoever. I saw a product today. I won't even name the product. I saw a product today that somebody had on their YouTube channel. I don't know. Like if you're using a 2x4 for something, trim the edge off so it doesn't look like a 2x4 anymore. Make it look like regular lumber or something. Unless you're intending for it to look like a 2x4. You get what I'm saying? It's well, geez, Kizzy, that's a really good point. So everyone shows how to make money, but people want to see how to save it when there's no intentions on selling your product. So especially if you're somebody that just loves woodworking, maybe you give away a few items at Christmas time, maybe you sell a couple of items to family. That's really where we started. So I didn't want to buy router templates. This is, I know I'm going off on these trays. This is the first router tray that I did. My grandkids have this little box. It's called a Tony, and they put little figurines on it, and it sings or tells a story or whatever. Well, that little Tony box, I needed to route out. I built them like a little house that it sits in, and I needed to route out a spot for that little Tony box to sit. And so this is what I came up with, and I was like, oh, it's a tray. Look at that, it's like thick and you know, whatever. So I wanted to do something a little bit better. So I designed these router templates that this is for the inside of the bowl, but I wanted it to be thin on the outside, or like have a thin wall. So in Lightburn, I just designed one that was a little bit bigger than that hole to use as the outside. So I clamped that all together, used a flush trim bit, and went around the outside. Just by making my own router templates, the big base that I put on my router, I've seen people wanting up to $70 for that. And it's about $4 worth of plexiglass. And it's strong, says it's unbreakable, you know, whatever, cut it out on the laser, whatever size I wanted. I can put bushings in it if I want to. I mean, it just takes some design. So that saved me a ton of money. And I save a lot of money with 3D printing stuff,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. So I'm going to back up to some of the comments here. You're absolutely right. Make $1,000 on, you know, this and that. My latest video that I put out that wasn't live, I dipped my toe into some clickbait. Here's 5 projects that sell fast. And they do. They're cheap. They sell fast. It didn't really do me the justice that I'd hoped it would. Yeah, 2x4s, they just look like 2x4s. Now, I built a table out of 2x4s. I just ripped the edges off so that they weren't rounded. And did it come out pretty good? It did, but I did the breadboard ends. I didn't do them right, and it split. It's my table. I still have it. But it was a great learning experience. Kids, you experiment with everything and your husband is legit mad that you don't stream or sell. Well, why don't you sell? Because you're not interested in doing it? Or do you have imposter syndrome where you're like, my stuff is not good enough to sell?
That's me.
That's her. It's me sometimes too, but shit. I'd sell you this scrap that fell off of her laser thing. All right, Chase, how we doing? Yeah, cutting templates for furniture. The coat rack that I did, and if there's more interest, I'll go get it so you guys can see. I wanted so Matthew Peach on the side of it. There was like 2 sides that came down. He just kind of chopped them off at an angle, 45-degree or whatever angle, and I was like, I want something a little fancier than that. So I just went into Lightburn. It's probably impossible to see. Still can't see it. Well, yeah, kind of. All right, so I just did a profile like that looked pretty good. Double-sided tape that on the end. I traced it out, cut it out with the bandsaw, and then hit it with the flush trim bit, and done. So I can imagine doing bigger stuff or bigger furniture. It would be awesome. Yes, smash that like button. I appreciate that. The core intention of my woodworking channel is not woodworking. What is your purpose? What is your intentions? So Kizzy, that's awesome. So when my granddaughters got these little tiny Tony figurine things, I had a really good plan. It kind of failed at the end, but they're magnetic, so that when they put them on that box, they kind of sit there and the box turns on and does whatever it's supposed to do. I built them the silhouette of a house, like timber framed, roof trusses exposed, all, finished exquisitely. I took the piece of plywood that I made it on and I laser engraved chandeliers, like deep engraved chandeliers where I thought there should be a chandelier. I engraved and painted wallpaper on the bottom so it looked like an old-timey kind of house with wallpaper, flowery wallpaper. Painted that purple and then sanded it out so that it was, just in the engraving. And I put some little thin shelves in there that were about that thick, maybe 2 inches. Different woods. I had some cherries, some maple. and I just put little pieces of shelf in there to hold one or two of these little figurines. My plan was to bore out some little holes and put some magnets in there that would hold the figurines. Unfortunately, the people that make the Tonys don't believe in putting the magnet in the same way every time, so sometimes it would repel it. So that was kind of a failure, but it was fun. It's for the grandkids, so it was awesome.
And she's 2 and she throws the figurines. They're never on the shelf.
Yeah, I don't know. They were, yeah, and she 3D prints them. I don't know why. She found this thing that is, it's a little, like one of them's an elephant. It's like this tall. And it 3D prints like it was crocheted. So the texture of it is like a crocheted texture. And she 3D prints these little animals.
And they don't break.
The kids love them. And they don't break. If they lose them, it literally costs like a quarter to make another one.
And she's going through a throwing thing, so it's good they don't break.
What did I miss here? Corbell's doing a Magic the Gathering style Corbell's Shelf 2 for my husband for Father's Day. Magic the Gathering is huge. So Steve, the Magic card boxes, I've been actually looking at 3D printing some, designing and 3D printing some card boxes that shows like a card on the front, as well as dice towers. That seems to be huge. All right, Steve. Hey, it was good hanging out. Catch you next time. And I think we're going on an hour and 17 minutes, so.
Oh, I'm never going to get all these letters done. I put that I in the wrong spot.
Did you really?
It's a smaller I. I didn't realize there was slight differences. Oh.
Kizzy, why can't you make that a quarter-inch plywood on the laser? Oh yeah, so why can't you make a shelf for that? This bandsaw over here is 110. It's a 14-inch, kind of an older one. It's not super old, but it's 110. I think I can, if I wanted to, switch it over to 220, but I don't have 220 in my shop. So that was my latest purchase on Marketplace. What did I give? A couple $100 for that?
I don't know, because we bought the hand planes and stuff too. I don't remember how much. Guy
Bought a
was
bunch of stuff off of them.
cleaning out a storage thing, and it was all woodworking stuff. So
Yeah.
we bought a bunch of weird stuff.
Got some big Bessie clamps off of him. But that bandsaw, brought it home, tuned it up. I watched. There's a guy that used to work for Delta that he's got a YouTube channel, I think, and he shows like all the ins and outs of how to do, how to tune a bandsaw. I got all the rust off the table, and so far it's treated me pretty good. Resawing, I've got a 3/4 inch blade in there, and I could resaw some, 2-3 inch stock, and it works pretty well. But I hate changing the frickin' blade on it, so I end up trying to make like when I was cutting out the the round parts of this, it was like knocking it off chunk by chunk or trying to come into it from the end. So I'd like to get another bigger bandsaw for resawing and use that one just for tight corners. Definitely a solid machine. Blade wanders a little bit if I don't keep up with the adjustment. There's an adjustment, on this style, there's an adjustment, not an adjustment. There's a bearing on the back that the blade pushes against as you feed the wood into it. If that's touching without pushing any wood into it, then I have to adjust the whole thing. So it needs to be not turning if I'm not feeding wood in there, and if you give it just a little bit of pressure, it should start turning. Then it's pretty good. But it's my first bandsaw, so I don't know. I love it. It's freaking awesome. And not having to worry about, when you're pushing a piece in there, you have to watch out where your thumbs are, where your fingers are. But it's not like, ass clenching. Sometimes you do some stuff on the table saw and you're like, Jesus, I hope this goes good. I hope this doesn't explode on me, And with the bandsaw, it's a lot more controlled, provided you're not trying to cut anything round, like a dowel or something. But I've heard great things about the Ridgid 14-inch. I thought about getting that so that I would have two about the same size, and I think they share the same size blade, but I could have one set up all the time for resawing. Timberwolf blades, I'm gonna check them out. We're an hour and 22 minutes into it.
And I'm still not done.
And you're still not done and you're frozen. A little bit all that.
This is one of those times I wish I had the 3M stuff.
Right. Or a heated garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh.
You lose a letter?
No, it's where some of the, even though it's the same font, it will only go back in the same hole that it came out of. And I have to search for it. There we go. Same letter, same font, same size, but they have to go in the same hole they were cut out of. Which makes it hard because I'm a mess.
So Kizzy, you tend to overcomplicate things. Absolutely, that's, Paul said it perfect. I was trying to think God, the amount of support that anybody gets in this community is amazing. And especially, I have a lot of respect for the women in this hobby. I think of, April Wilkerson. Of course, she's way up there, and there's others way below that, that just started, They didn't take the answer of, well, you're a girl, you shouldn't be, in shop class. I don't know what that looks like, but.
I got that a lot in school.
Yeah.
It was so irritating.
Yeah. That's what they told me about home ec. I don't know.
Then you should.
Those classes are gone now.
Which is sad.
Yeah. But yeah, you will definitely get help out of this community. However, for instance, you're building a figurine shop. As supporting you doing that would be, okay, what do you want your design to look like? Sketch it out. Okay, how are you going to cut that? What kind of tools are you going to use? Are you going to use a laser? Or are you going to use a jigsaw? Are you going to use, whatever? And okay, try this and do this to help it come out better. That's the kind of support that I like. There's a lot of, especially the 3D printing community, especially on YouTube. Hey, they're just trying to cut each other off at the knees. That's it. That's all they care about. And I can't stand it. That's why I don't do a whole lot of 3D printing videos. I did when we first got our print farm, but
It's a garden.
it's a garden. It's a print garden. But I found that the people that you get watching your videos and the other people in that community, they don't give a shit about you. They're trying to make fidget dragons and make a shit ton of money on them. So I like the woodworking community a little bit better. And the laser community. What I can't wait to get into is the CNC community. If she ever lets me have $5,000 to buy a CNC with.
After a $12,000 freaking laser. I hope our kids don't want an inheritance. They're not getting one.
Oh, Kizzy, you don't even know how much that warms my heart that there is a school that has shop class and home economics. I think every boy, every girl, let's say 8th grade, I think that's when I took shop class.
I was in high school.
Maybe in high school.
But we had in middle school, like, enrichment. So, like, I did auto body. I learned how to sew. Every, 9 weeks, we were allowed to switch what our enrichment was.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore. But we still have the Vogue School up here.
Yeah, we do.
So kids can go to that. But I don't know that they do shop class anymore, though. Because I took shop at the school, and then I went to Vogue School.
Now, did you have to take shop class or home economics? Like you had to take one or the other?
No. So I took both. But home economics, it was one of the, you had to take so many electives.
Yeah.
So I took it for that. But for my shop class, I was a part of a program. It was called PAL or something. I don't know. It was a group of us, 30 of us, and we all had the same classes throughout the day. We had shop class, computer class. It was more hands-on programs.
Yeah. See, we had to take, in 8th grade, you had to take so many weeks of shop class and so many weeks of home ec. It didn't teach you a lot, but it at least dabbled your toes into the world of cooking and how to plane a board. We had planers and table saws and the whole 9 yards in 8th grade. So, what's that, 14 years old or so? That's the perfect time to get into all of these hobbies. So,
But our kids never had any of those things.
no, and I don't know, my son's not necessarily into woodworking yet. I think he will be eventually, and I think it's going to be because he's like, shit, I need a coffee table. I'm going to have to build one. But That is awesome. I would have loved to learn how to carve stuff and CNC stuff. And I think CNC stuff is what's going to get kids back interested into some of the trades like architecture or architectural drawing. What is that? Engineers and stuff like that. So. Paul, I am very interested in that. So you teach homeschool kids and middle school kids woodworking because they're pulling shop class out of the schools, which is bad for our workforce, of course. Do you teach that on your own, like in your own shop or space or at your house? Or is that something that you've set up through like a local agency, school or something? We had thought about opening a maker space with a couple of lasers, whatever woodworking equipment we could get donated, or whatever we have, and then whatever we could get donated. Even vinyl crafts and sign making and woodworking, whatever, but Kizzy just donated a miter saw and table saw, and my son is taking it next year, so you're excited. That is awesome. I am so glad to hear that they either didn't get rid of shop class or put it back in. I think that's amazing. Oh, a workshop in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I spent a lot of time in Virginia, the Fort Lee area.
He says a lot of time. We were only there for 2 years.
In the military, 2 years is a long time. So, I would love to do that, to like volunteer or whatever, but I don't know. I guess I've never really looked into it.
I don't have the patience for teenagers nowadays.
Yeah. And as far as trades go, I'm a diesel mechanic, so I mean, I could probably volunteer some time doing that too. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're at about an hour and a half. I think it's time for us to go. Oh, what are you doing?
I put it in there without glue.
I guess we are going to go ahead and get off of here. It was great to do a live. We weren't going to do one tonight. I was going to wait until I'm going to buy Ecamm Live, which is a much better, robust going live system. And what I'm going to try and do is set up a invite people on, and it does, I'm not looking to get the Sam Crafts of the world or the big YouTubers. I'd like to get some of the smaller guys, have good conversations, have topics kind of laid out, almost like a podcast, but not really. So once I get Ecamm, which should be this week, then I'm going to start looking for some volunteers that want to, join a live, talk about whatever comes up in the chat, and maybe have a loose topic, like this one was the laser engraver.
Yeah.
But I think that it will. I think it'll do pretty good. I don't know. I enjoy doing them, so there's that. Be nice if it was warmer in here, though, huh?
Oh my goodness.
It's about 47 now.
Would be, and you have the heat on your side. That's why you're always, it's not bad in there.
Yeah, I got a heater right here. So, all right. Yeah, almost everybody who takes shop class. Less trouble in geometry and trigonometry. And problem solving. I think that woodworking really it helps you solve problems. Is everything going to be perfect? Is every 45 miter going to be awesome? No. But if you cut one and it's wrong, how can you fix it? How can you fix it and not have to just scrap the piece and start fresh? So that's what I like about woodworking. But anyway, with that, we're going to go ahead and get off of here. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. And who knows, maybe we'll see you again next weekend. So, all right. Have a good week.
Bye.